I'm gonna give you 4 reasons why you shouldn't hire a GC and you should manage it yourself. Okay, I'm also gonna give you a couple reasons why you might want to use a GC. I'm Ross, been flipping houses for 15 years, done over 300 of them, and I own 150 as rentals. So here we go, 4 reasons. Number 1 is it's not as bad as you think. All right, a lot of people get overwhelmed by the idea of GCing their own project, but the reality is it's not as complex as you might think. I think about this like, this will be a weird analogy, but think about making spaghetti, okay? If you were somebody who like lived in the jungle and you saw a plate of spaghetti, you'd be like, how the hell did that get made? You know, they got to make their own noodles. How did they make the sauce? Where does the meat come from? You probably wouldn't even be able to pick out that those are the different ingredients that make it up. Okay, but you know that, well, it's not complex at all. You know, even I can make spaghetti. I go buy some sauce that's already in a jar. I go heat it up. I can make some noodles that are already in a box. I just have to put them in boiling water. And if I want to add some meat, I put it in a pan, brown the meat, put it all together, stir it up. There we go. I have spaghetti. That's very simple, right? Confusing to the person that just came out of the jungle. And I think that it's that simple for us. Okay, if you really break down a project, what is it? I mean, most of you guys aren't going to be buying projects that have all kinds of structural issues. Maybe you do, but anyway, it's structural and then framing. Okay, and then we have things like the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. And then we have the finishes. You got to put drywall on or repair drywall. You got to paint it. You got to put on floors. And then you put in the installs like cabinets and tile. And that's it. There's really not that much more to it. Landscaping. Okay, so anyway, going back to the spaghetti analogy and the ingredients, okay, you know that you don't have to sit there and make the noodles or make the sauce. You just buy it at the store and heat it up. So with GCing, MIYing, manage it yourself, you really need like a handful of contractors, and really you only need one that I call the all-arounder. These are guys that you're gonna meet up at Home Depot. They do a little bit of everything. Not that great at everything maybe, okay, but that's not the types of properties that we're buying. All right, so they can do a little bit of everything. They'll do your demo, they'll do the clean outs, they'll do floors, they'll do paint, they can do some drywall, they can install the stuff, they're carpenters. Hell, they might even be able to do a little bit of mechanical, electrical, plumbing. Obviously, if you need to do deeper mechanical, electrical, plumbing and go get permits, you're gonna need to get a licensed guy. Okay, but that's number 2, 3, and 4. You need an electrician, you need a plumber, and you need an HVAC guy. Pretty easy to find, they're all over the place. Okay, and then finally, there might come up a couple things like roofing. Some all-arounders aren't gonna do roofing. And plus, with something that is that big, it's like a production job, you know, these guys are probably they're gonna be better at it. They're going to have price efficiencies. And truly, you can find roofers that do things for like half the price that you think you should pay for a roof, and your GC is just making that money off you, by the way. Okay, and then the one other might be another production job. If you did gut a house and you had to do all the drywall, it's probably gonna be better to hire a drywall crew for the same reasons as the roofer. But truly, when I say MIY, I have all-arounders is what I look for. I have all-arounders and they're running all of the jobs, and I only need a roofer. Maybe I have some backups. I have a drywall guy. Yes, I have some backups, and mechanical, electrical, plumbing. And of course, for me at this point, I own a mechanical, electrical, plumbing company because it's so difficult to always run through those things. But I promise your GC is having the same problems. Okay, so that's it. Not as bad as you think. Spaghetti analogy. If you understood it at all, you would know that it's not as complex as it seems. Now, next is, let's continue on with the spaghetti. Okay, think about if you go to the store and buy those parts for the spaghetti. It costs you like a few bucks to make a full family's worth of spaghetti dinner. Okay, but if you go and have that same spaghetti dinner at a restaurant, you pay like 2, 3, 4x for it, right? Same thing as with a GC. All they're doing is putting the ingredients together. They go find their noodles, that's their all-arounder. They go find their sauce, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and they just let them go do the thing. Okay, so all you actually have to do is put the recipe together, and you save 20 to 50, maybe 60%, depending on who you're hiring. Alarm's going off. Got to take my kids to a party. All right. Now, is it worth the time to save all that money? Probably so. Okay, but just understand that all they're doing is putting the ingredients together. Yes, they're managing some things, but guys, that's why you're here, right? You're going to know the things to look out for. And I'm going to get to that because the point here is that nobody's going to care as much as you care. So putting the skills in your tool belt is absolutely worth it, because once you have them, you are going to see around the corners, and you're going to give a crap about the corners that you need to see around. A lot of GCs aren't really caring about those kind of things, the bad things that could happen. Sorry, getting ahead of myself here. Next is you exponentialize your skills. Okay, so that's basically what we're talking about here. See, your skills, they get to compound. Okay, every time something comes up and you deal with it, it sucks, right? At first it's slow. You probably make more mistakes than a pro is going to make just because you didn't have the ability to see around the corner. Okay, but you're going to get through it with the help of the subcontractors that you've already found. And once you get through it, the next time you see it, you're going to see it with a different view. And also every next project you see, you're going to see it with a different view. You're going to be a whole new person every time you see it. And that's how those skills continue to compound. Okay. Now, if you're hiring GCs, it's like linear. Okay. Compounding, linear. Of course, you do learn things as you're going through the GC, but not like when you have to deal with the stuff yourself. Okay, exponentialize your skills. And finally, the GC business dilemma. And I kind of already hit on this, that, well, they just, you know, I've run a GC company, as you guys probably know already. You know, we did over $5 million a year at the peak of that business. And I can tell you for sure, no matter how bad I wanted to be doing the best for the customer, the reality is you're trying to run a business. So you're looking for the next project all the time. You are running subcontractors thinner than they should be, and you're going to miss things because the thing is to keep projects moving along, and you just don't see all the details, and sometimes you miss things. And that will happen. It's happening to your GC. Okay, but think about it, if it's your project, and let's just say you're only doing a couple at a time, maybe you're doing 3 at a time, you're going to be thinking about those things. You're going to go to sleep thinking about those things, and you might see things that other people wouldn't have seen, and your GC is not going to be doing it because they're not thinking about your project when they go to sleep at night. They're thinking about their business when they go to sleep at night. They're thinking about, what subcontractor should I get in there next? How do I get to the next payday on this one? How do I blah, 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 blah. And another thing, not to catastrophize here, but I've seen so many houses where it's like, I'll see it torn down. And it's like, I know what happened. They ended up opening up some can of worms, didn't deal with it appropriately, and ended up with only one option left. You know, city condemns the house or whatever. Some of these problems, I don't want to get too much into that because that's not really the point of this video. But those problems, if you had the skills, if you were thinking about the project, you would have the foresight to avoid those things. All right, that's why ultimately, guys, there is no other option in my mind. You know, if you think about the 4 main focuses of a real estate enterprise, is finding deals, absolutely, okay? But a big part of finding deals is understanding the construction that has to happen on it, okay? So if you understand construction, actually have those skills, you will get far better deals every time. You will, you know, you don't have to get a contractor to come there with you because you already know. And then the, you know, just the experience, the rapport, not the rapport, but the authority that you would have with sellers right away, because they would be able to sniff that you knew what the hell you were talking about when it came to houses. You just get better deals all the time. Okay, so focus number one, get great deals. Focus number two, write great scopes of work, part of getting deals, part of what we just talked about. Obviously need construction skills for that. Number three is project management. Okay, so what's the difference? Okay, you guys think that GCs just go run it on their own. No, you still have to manage them. Just like with a property management company, you don't just hand over the property, you have to manage it. Otherwise you get put at the back of the list and you want to be on the top of the list. Okay, so it still requires management. So I'm either managing the GC or I'm managing the subs. Same deal to me. And, but I get all the benefits. And then finally, the fourth focus item, build better scopes of work, build a better vendor list. Okay, so I'm either building the vendor list of general contractors or I'm building it of subcontractors. And I'd rather do the subcontractors because you spread out your risk a little bit. You know, the guys who are relying on one GC will wait till that GC finds a better customer than them, and then all of a sudden all their properties come to a halt. Okay, so those are all the reasons that I believe you should be your own GC. Okay, but there are a couple reasons why you might decide to hire the GC, and valid reasons. And, you know, I just want you guys to not do it because you have to, because you want to. Okay, so here are the reasons why you would want to. Is because you need a license. Okay, some places you need a license to be able to do things. Of course, there are ways around that, ways through it, which I've made videos about that. But especially starting out, you might not be able to do that. So it might take time to do that, and you don't want to wait the time. Makes sense. Okay, and then a bandwidth thing is you can focus your time on more important things like getting better deals. Of course, that's not, once again, going back, you still have the skills, but you're just focusing your time there. Therefore, you hire a GC. Now, I will say that the most important skill of all is getting great deals. So if you're getting such great deals that you can hire a GC 100% of the time, you can just pay the extra and let them go do the thing. Even if mistakes come up, it doesn't hurt you because you have such great deals. Awesome. You know, that is the future. But I think that going through the pain first gets you to that future. Okay. You know, I guess I am at that point now where I do get such great deals. I could hire a GC to go in there. I could pay the extra and not have to worry about it. But also at this point, it's so much easier for me to just hire the all-arounders that are on my list. And it's the same thing. I just save money doing it. So, and have more control, which more control means less risk. I like all of those things. And that's what I talk about all the time on this channel and in my free, for now, school community. Link will be in the description. Check it out. Hopefully I answered that question for you in my community. Somebody asked me about this. That's what this video is about. That's where most of my videos come from. Check it out, guys, or watch this next video right here. See ya.